and inclusive digital financial services. It is now my pleasure to introduce the facilitator for this session, Mr. Asad Rahman Now, who is a seasoned digital development professional with over 17 years of experience across ICT for development, digital transformation, digital financial services, e-government, and digital public infrastructure, spanning Bangladesh, Nigeria, and Vanuatu. He currently serves as country coordinator for the United Nations Capital Development Fund in Vanuatu, where he leads initiatives focusing on advancing the digital economy and expanding financial inclusion, particularly for underserved communities. Mr. Nal holds a background in computer science and business administration and is certified in globally recognized frameworks, including PMP, COBIT, ITIL, and Six Sigma, reflecting both his technical depth and his strategic leadership. He's also a recipient of multiple international fellowships and scholarships, including from the government of India and Germany and the Rotary Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me with a round of applause to warmly welcome Mr. Nal.
Thank you, Linda, for the flattering introductions. And I would like to welcome everyone for today's panel. We have a very high-powered panel team. So our panel members, they really don't need much introduction. But before we go to the discussion and to the panel members, just a little bit about today's panel discussions and what we want to achieve. So this discussion focusing on digital financial inclusion. In Vanuatu, we have seen through the National Financial Inclusion Strategy 2018 to 23 and 25 to 2030, that financial inclusion is a challenge. Vanuatu has its own geographic challenges that makes it a bit difficult for the conventional financial system or financial institutes to serve the underserved and unbanked population. So that's why we are trying to figure out with all the stakeholders, with the government, with the private sectors, with other multilaterals, on how we can bring in innovation. So without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Brennan Garai, who's the Commissioner for Vanuatu Financial Services Commission, for his keynote for this session. Please, a round of applause for him.
Thank you so much, MC, for the introduction. Honorable Ministers, if any of the ministers is here, distinguished guests, colleagues, and partners. Good day to all of you. It is a privilege to join you today at this important Commonwealth Digital Roadshow, where we collectively shape the future of Vanuatu's digital economy. Digital transformation is no longer optional. It is essential. For a small island developing state like Vanuatu, geography must not determine opportunity. Distance must not limit access. Technology must include, not exclude. Therefore, digital financial inclusion is therefore not just a policy, it is a national development priority. Why digital financial inclusion matters. When we talk about digital financial inclusion, we are talking about a market vendor in Tana receiving payments instantly, a young entrepreneur in Santo accessing finance to grow a business, a rural farmer saving surely without traveling long distance. This is about economic empowerment, resilience, and participation in the formal economy. The key focus area of Vanuatu: one, digital payment expands mobile money and electronic payment system, reduce reliance on cash-based transaction. For the financial literacy, equip people to use digital tools safely, focuses on the youth, women, and rural community. Interoperability ensures systems can work across banks and mobile operators, and I say all stakeholders that are in this market. The other point is secure and affordable access, strengthen cybersecurity and consumer protection, ensure affordability and inclusion. Vanuatu Financial Service Commission is a registry of companies, business. We register. We are in the offshore finance center as well. We undertake this important role, like the other regulators, to play a very important role in this space. By balancing innovation with risk management, ensuring compliance with international standards, it is becoming a big issue these days, and promoting transparency and trust. We must create an environment where innovation thrives, investors are confident, and consumers are protected. The importance of collaboration. This is a very important point. No single institution can achieve digital financial inclusion alone. We must strengthen collaboration between the government, financial institutions, telecommunication providers, development partners. Together, we can expand reach, reduce duplication, and build an inclusive digital economy. I would like to end with the vision for the future. Our vision is a Vanuatu where every citizen can access financial services digitally. Every business can participate in the digital economy, and no community is left behind. Let us use this platform not just to discuss, but to commit to action. The opportunity is here, the technology is available, the partnerships are forming. Now is the time to deliver inclusive, secure, and accessible digital financial service for all Ni Vanuatu. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you to the Commissioner of Vanuatu Financial Services Commission for sharing his thoughts and giving the vision where VFSC wants to see Vanuatu. Now, I hope our esteemed panelists are ready. So as I call the names, I would request our panelists to join me on the stage. First, I would like to request Ms. Senili Jacquer, Chief Commercial Officer of Vodafone Vanuatu, to come to the stage. Mr. Philip Noiro, Deputy General Manager, Bread Bank. Mr. Rio Joseph, CTO, National Bank of Vanuatu. Mr. Samuel Pakua, Payments Manager, BSP. Mr. Gary Sufang, CEO, Digicel Vanuatu. Please. So, ladies and gentlemen, can we have a round of applause for our panelists? As I mentioned before, this is a very high-powered panel with panelists who are known all over the country. We are very lucky to have all of them together on the same panel. And with the vision we have heard just now from the Commissioner of VFSC that financial services should be inclusive. It should address the challenges of the people and how we can bring in all of Vanuatu within a formal financial umbrella, and the vision that he painted. I believe all of these organizations are working together from their own areas to figure out what they can do. And with that, I will start a very basic discussion, start with some small, simple questions to see how the discussion move forward. And then at the end of the discussion, we'll have 15 to 20 minutes for the interaction with the audiences. And after that, we'll do the wrap up. Now, so thank you so much for to our panelists for coming here. And as we see, it's not a very gender balanced panel. So I'll start my first question with the only lady here, Ms. Senli Jacquer, Chief Commercial Officer of Vodafone Vanuatu. So now we heard a lot about financial inclusion, and we worked with Reserve Bank of Vanuatu to understand how financial inclusion should look for Vanuatu, considering the geographic dispersion. And we see that Vodafone has some very interesting solutions and products that are in the market. And maybe to begin with, I would request you to talk a bit about a new solution that you launched last year, Grow Smart. What is that solution? How does that work? And how that might impact the financial inclusion? So over to you, Senali.
Thank you very much, Asad. Good morning to everyone here. Thank you for having me. So, in terms of new products and solutions that Vodafone launched recently, it's referring to last year, we launched a product called Grow. So prior to the launch, we had, because we've launched Vanuatu in 2019, and it's been going for almost 6 years. We have seen the adoption of digital services among our communities, and it's quite low. We're continuously pushing on the front. So we have done some awareness to our villages across the country, and then we launched a product called Grow Smart. So with this product, it's a basic savings initiative that we give to our rural communities, where they can save the money in the wallet for a period of 8 weeks. So every week they do a savings of a minimum of 3,000 Batu, and we give them free airtime, plus they have an incentive of e-value. So over the cycle of 8 weeks, we give them back, the savings and plus the incentive, and they have, they enjoyed free airtime for 8 weeks. So basically, this product it's not just about savings, it's teaching the people the discipline of saving money so they can save. It teaches them financial literacy, it teaches them financial resistance, especially for people in the rural areas. So we have visited over 52 communities across Vanuatu. We teach them to save, we teach them about the product, we did the awareness, and we have seen the onboarding. So we have starting to onboard customers on the saving program, and it's a very interesting program for them. So they start to save, and they start to learn how to, save the money in the wallet for times like disaster or vulnerable times. They will have money, or they have the capacity to continue living and continue to sustain the household. So this is one product that we recently launched last year, and it's ongoing at the moment. And we are grateful for this product, and we've seen the uptake in the market. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very interesting. That's one innovation in the financial services we have heard about that can enable the unbanked and rural communities to access to savings and basic financial services through digital wallet. For many of these communities, traveling to the bank is very, very expensive and difficult. For in Vanuatu, literally, many communities need to cross the ocean to go to the bank. So moving on, the next question is to Mr. Philip Noro, the Deputy General Manager of Bread Bank. So, as you are one of the most prominent international banks in Vanuatu, we see that the digital wallets are coming up with different services and solutions. So, would like to hear from you, what are your thoughts on the digital wallets and how do you see collaboration or competition considering all of Vanuatu and the whole financial sector? Because Bread Bank is only in very urban areas, so for the rural customers. So how do you see the future from a bank's perspective? Over to you.
Thank you, Asaf. Good morning, everyone. So regarding your question, so as you say, Bread Bank is like a classic, I would say, bank, but we try to integrate ourselves in the Vanuatu ecosystem. So we see what is available and how we can serve better our customers, but also non-banking customers. So those who are not yet in the banking industry and don't have any account. So Bread Bank is not all over Vanuatu. So we have 2 branches, one in Port Vila, or 2 branches in Port Vila, one in Santo. So we cannot have branches everywhere, but we try to see with the digital innovations how we can better serve the customers. So for that, with our platform, so we have several applications. So Bread Connect for the retail customers and Bread Business Connect for the business customers. And we have achieved last year the last integration of all the e-wallet operators, so whether it's Vodafone, Digicel, and Vanuatu Post for Vanuatu Wallet, MyCash, and QuickPay. So that's basically a way for people to transfer money from bank account to the wallet, and then that facilitate all the payments throughout the country. So that's one of the initiatives that we have. And also we working with the Reserve Bank of Vanuatu and all the stakeholders, so bank industries, the telco, the government, to be innovative. So we are strong advocate of digital payment or services, and we try all of us to find a solution altogether to find also other alternative and solution for everyone. So the community, whether it's individual customers or not customers, or the business customers. So we also very interested to government initiative, especially what they're currently doing in the civil registry digitalization. So for us, the banking industry, that's a big plus to be able to have access to that service. So that's pretty new, and that also could facilitate online onboarding or some verification of IDs automatically for the bank or any payment operators. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's very helpful and insightful to see how an international bank like Bread Bank is operating in Vanuatu and looking to collaborate with the digital wallets. Now, moving on, I would go back to NBV, National Bank of Vanuatu. We are happy that the CTO, Rio Joseph, is with us. So, National Bank of Vanuatu is the only nationally owned bank in the country with maximum number of branches, 29 branches across the country. So last time we had a discussion, we came to know not all the branches are online. And my question to the CTO would be, in 2026, are all the branches online? If not, when they are coming online? And again, like Bread Bank, how do you see collaboration with the digital wallets for financial inclusion, considering you have the most access to the remote and rural communities of all the commercial banks. So over to you, Joseph.
Thank you. Distinguished guests, Honorable MP Fred Samuel, CTO, thank you for the opportunity. I think I'll share a funny story here. Me and Samuel, we used to work for Bread Bank and Philippines Outpost. Thank you. As you all know, NBB has a presence on all provinces. And one of the major focus for 2026 is to have to improve the banking services in the rural areas. We had some issues with the connectivity where 4G is not available, thanks to Starlink. So as we speak, there's around 26 branches online via Starlink. In terms of digital wallet, we're working with Vodafone on integrating the Easy Mobile with Vanuatu. And we're also looking at integrating My Digital Cash with Easy Mobile. This is to help reach out to the rural areas, to help rural communities to have access to cash. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very interesting because with the outreach NBV has, NBV can play a very important role for the financial inclusion of the country, and NBV also has their digital app, and as they're working closely with Vodafone, and I believe they'll be working closely with other players in the market to make sure that the whole of Vanuatu is covered. Now, with that, I would ask the CEO of Digicel, Mr. Gary Sufong, to share his thoughts on how do you see the growth of the digital wallets in Vanuatu, considering new services like cross-border remittance, money transfer, and payments. So what you are seeing, things that have changed in the last 2-3 years, and how do you foresee things are moving in next couple of years? So over to you, Gary.
Thank you, Asad. Good morning, everybody. I think we've seen a huge increase in terms of users and acceptance of the digital wallet product. I think when we visit islands and when our sales team goes out to visit customers in different communities, there's still a little bit of reluctance in terms of using those types of products and services. So I think while they can see the benefits of the technology, before they actually get to see, feel, and touch and use it, it always is a bit of a challenge. So I think our philosophy has always been about how do we bring it back to the essentials and the basics in terms of what basic human needs are. So, we've been focusing on things like food, utilities, transport, etc., and how we integrate with those types of services. So if we have those essential services on board with the digital wallet product, then it starts to become a part of the customer's everyday life. Once it becomes part of customers' everyday life, then it starts to become normal, and it's not that scary type of service or product that customers are a little bit apprehensive of. So we've tried to focus on how do we build that ecosystem. I think a couple of people have already talked about before. We see a large influx of IMT remittance into the country, predominantly from RSC workers in Australia and New Zealand. And it's traditionally been money coming into the country and then straight out through the wallet. So it's about how do we actually, as a collaborative effort, so not just the operators, but also the banks and the government, how do we promote and build that ecosystem where people can actually retain funds coming into the wallet and use it for essential services, to pay bills, to transfer money to friends, family, to use it for our products and services as well, for banking and different types of applications. So I think it's getting there and it's growing, but it's still a big curve in terms of how we get that acceptance. So, I think with education and awareness and how we keep promoting the benefits and the ease of use and get that trust amongst our customer base, then we'll start seeing that level of acceptance increase significantly.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary. That's very, very insightful. And what Gary just said, that makes very good sense. And for the benefit of the audience, I can give a little bit of background that till now in Vanuatu, we are yet to see digital financial services accepted for public service payments. So it's a work in process, it's going on. So right now for any service, people need to go to the bank and pay the money and then take the receipt to the government office, or there is a cash booth there people need to pay and then submit the documents with that receipt. So what Gary was saying, to make it a part of the daily lives, that's where I think Vanuatu needs a bit more work to figure out how that can happen. And from UNCDF, we are engaging with multiple government agencies to support how that can be done, bringing in our global experience of doing similar things in different parts of the world, starting from Asia to Africa. But yes, that's one direction that can make these wallets more usable, and adoption rate would increase. So thank you for that. Now moving on to the Bank of the South Pacific, BSP. So we have Mr. Samuel Pokoa, who's payment manager for BSP. My question to you, Samuel, would be, how do you see the payment infrastructure in Vanuatu, and how do you see that that can be improved to include more people in the whole financial ecosystem, considering there are unbanked population and a significant number of unbanked population? So over to you.
Thank you. Good day to everyone. Good day to Honorable MP, distinguished guests. Firstly, to answer the question, I think there's a challenge that all of us can admit. Is the fact that we have 83 islands, they're all scattered, so we have challenges with communication. So speaking on behalf of the three of us from the commercial banks, regardless of our competition, we still have a priority to serve the people with their financial transactions. Talking about financial transactions, we need devices, gadgets to do those transactions. So we can talk about mobile banking, mobile wallet, but we all need the comms part of it. Without the comms, and that is the challenge we have, is by having either means of, so like in the last couple of years after the earthquake, we had the introduction of Starlink. So Starlink stepped in, we have Vodafone, we have Digicel. So we have other ISPs that provide these services. And so they are the ones that we, the banks, use as a platform to allow those transactions. Without them, we would not be able to transact. So they are an essential part of our infrastructure to be able to perform those transactions. Some of those transactions and some part of the transactions we do to support the local community, and by using that infrastructure, one classic example that currently exists is what we call agency banking. Agency banking, how it works is we're partnered with Digicel. So we use a digital SIM card, and it uses a GPRS connection. And so the SIM card, the tablet is installed in a shop. So it has to be a business operated account. So it does not operate with a personal savings account. And how it works is the tablet is installed at the store, and the store owner has a liquidity, which is a balance in the account. And so you have an agreement to operate on a cash available balance, and what the physical cash that the shop owner actually lends to the customer. So how it works is for BSB eligible customers, you would be eligible to do a cash withdrawal or a cash deposit at the shop. So it's without coming to the bank. So it can operate anywhere in Vanuatu as long as you have comms. So you can be using Starlink, Digicel, Vodafone, Pacific, whatever it is. As long as you have comms, we can do the transaction. Second one is by means of an FPOS machine. So we have a new rollout coming April, and that will be a counter improvement with our sister bank, which is Red Bank and NBV. So we have merchant services which we can offer, and part of that package is by providing services such as cash withdrawal. You can do cash withdrawal in terms of what they call, you all know of a cash out they used to do at Bon Marché. That will be eligible as well. Efficiency of doing transactions as well by using the means of using your, it's basically a target to allow cashless transactions. So it's more secure, less cash movement. So you're basically using your card to do those transactions. The other one we're doing to help the communities with is financial literacy. And by this program, the bank has been ongoing with this program for a number of years already. What happens is with these financial literacy sessions, we provide education or literacy to schools, communities, or organizations in how to use the electronic system, banking system. So it can be agency banking, it can be FPOS, how you transact from your ATM cards and ATMs, and the risks associated as well. So I think that's what I could say for now.
Thank you so much. That is very insightful. For Vanuatu, one thing that again need to consider that almost every year 17 to 18,000 RSC worker who are seasonal workers, they go to Australia and New Zealand for work, and they send in a huge amount of remittance, which is almost 14% of the GDP, near about $150 million every year. And what we are seeing with the increased adoption of digital wallet, a significant amount of that money is also coming through the wallets now. Earlier, it used to be through the conventional channels like Western Union and banks, but with the digital wallets bringing in cross-border connectivities, these are solutions for the people. And also for the benefit of our international audience, those who are watching it online and who are present here, would like to share a bit of anecdotal evidence to help you to understand how important it is for the remote communities. Just 3 weeks back, I traveled to Santo Island and to a village called Matantas. It's 2.5 hours of drive from the nearest town in Luganville. And we were talking to the villagers about some of the solutions we were working on. And I came to know for these villagers, going to the bank costs 17,000 Vatus round trip from the village to the bank. And we can't expect them to spend 17,000 Vatu to deposit maybe 10,000, 5,000 Vatus. That simply doesn't make sense. And another way of reducing that cost of traveling to the town is walk for 2 hours through pretty much jungle and unpaved road to the main road, and then take a bus to the town, which again costs around 6,400 Vatu. So we are looking at 4 hours of walking and 6,000 Vatu cost just to go to the bank. So for this type of rural communities, there has to be a different solution. And frankly speaking, in terms of Vanuatu, Matantas is not even remote, because it's on the same island. There are islands that takes 4 or 5 hours or even longer from where the community is to the bank, and the expenses, that's very, very challenging for the local communities and the people, and the reason why we see there are significant age groups with unbanked population. So now with that, I'll go back to our panelist, Senali, on the digital wallet. You are working with Vanuatu for last quite a few years, and you have seen the portfolio grow. You have seen rural communities adopting digital wallet solutions, and you are coming up with different solutions that are already incorporated. So what are some of the lessons that you have learned that through which the communities and other partners can effectively use to increase the acceptance of similar services? So over to you.
Thank you, Asad. So key learnings for Vanuatu since we launched. Just touch on what CEO Digital was saying from inward remittance. So we have seen an influx of money coming into the country, but 85% is out into the cash. So when it comes in, 85% of this money, for example, 40 million to 50 million is coming to the country in a month, and 80% of that is going back into the cash and people using it. So there's a lot of things that we've learned over the years, and one of them is how do we get people to use it. Having access to that money is having access to that service is one thing, but transforming it and making it understandable for the users is another thing for them to be able to use. So we've learned that awareness is very important. Financial literacy is very, very low in this country, and it's very important that we invest in making sure this service is known to the people. We created modules that is in different languages. We try to, when we go for a training, we talk to them in Bislama, and then we have to have someone to come and converse in their language, in a mother tongue, for them to understand it. So this is an example, like for Tana, for Middle Push Tana. We have visited Matantas. We have visited like deep, very remote areas in Vanuatu, but this is the thing that they don't really understand the solutions. But so we see that it's very important that we do awareness, we do training, and Vodafone has come up with very interesting modules that we've developed that make it very simple for the people to understand in different languages for them to understand so that you can adopt. So also we have seen that in areas like, for example, island like Epi, where there's no, what's the name of the, when they send the money overseas, and Western Union. So there's no Western Union branch. So that island is very active with mobile wallet. So all the agents, they are very active. All the money coming in from the seasonal workers, we've seen that the users, they go and withdraw from the agents. So AP Island is one use case that we see that is very active. And we have done trainings to the people in these communities, and we see that the uptake is there. So there's one thing that we've seen is continuous engagement with the rural communities. Make sure we build a trust and continuous awareness to them, and some use cases in different Pacific Island, like for example Fiji. I think it's a collaborative effort as well. We've seen that during the COVID, the government has to ensure that people use M-Pesa for transportation. This is when the M-Pesa usage starts to pick up. So it's not just about working in silos and telcos trying to push. I think it's very important that we have a collaborative effort, that the government also helps to push this. So mobile scalability in terms of financial inclusion, I think mobile is in front, and we need to have the support of the bank, the other stakeholders, the government, so that we can see the scale up in the market. Otherwise, it will never come to we're never going to realize it, because bank penetration is low, but SIM penetration is higher for our communities. So it's something that we learn, and we want to, this is where we should go forward.
Thank you. That is very insightful. Thank you for sharing the insights, and that helps us to understand how complicated the whole situation is. It's not only about access to the technology or access to outside money, but also about creating the awareness, understanding, and the financial literacy. All things are quite relevant. So now I would like to ask our banking partners who are here to hear from them that if they are working on any type of financial literacy awareness creation or consumer education type of program. Maybe I'll start with NBV. If you are involved in any of these things, if there's any regular program on this, please.
Thank you. Yes, NBV, we have a financial literacy program run by our rural banking. And it's we run those training in all our branches twice a year, just to educate people on the current product NBV has in terms of digital banking. We see quite a number of people engaging on digital banking. I think the ISP can share the statistics, but I think most people in the rural area, they have access to mobile. So yeah, that contributes a lot on the use of digital banking on our mobile app. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bread Bank, if
Regarding for us, Bread Bank, so we don't have yet like a formal literacy program. We have interesting discussions internally about it, and recently we went to visit some rural people in Santo. So we have a team spend a few weeks there, so 2 weeks, so together to just have some feedback from the people. So who are not traditionally our customers. We are quite now mature on our market, but we are looking to see how we can go a little bit further outside our urban areas, and especially the rural customers where they have some financial needs and they need also to have access to banking services or any financial services, whether it's the bank or the telco. So interesting was some comment was more also the trust. So people are sometimes they don't really trust the financial institutions or any digital wallet or the digital world. I'm not too sure why. I'm thinking about some past experience where they've been, I would say, disappointed with some other players. But this is, I think, for that key point for the bank and everybody to rebuild the trust in the digital world, make sure that they understand how it works and be sure that the money is safe. So we see that a lot of cash outside the banking system. So from what the Reserve Bank issued and what is on the banking sector, it's a lot of money. So most of the money is kept by the people in the home. So that's actually where we are at the moment. So we try to see what's the best way for us to do some part of corporate social responsibility and do some financial literacy program. So we are at the beginning of it, but we're working on it.
Thank you. BSP?
Thank you. I think for BSP, we already have an existing, and it's been around for quite a while since BSP existed, financial literacy program. And we're open to requests. You can request a session at a school, community, or organization. We're happy. It's free. And just to admit, I have a project that I've been working on, and it's going to be launched in 2 weeks. And it is what they call a agency banking customer onboarding interface using a tablet. And thanks again to Digicel, because we're using their connection for this. And so back to the beginning where you talked about, you had a scenario where you experienced at Matantas where people said they spent a fortune to do their banking. It will no longer happen. And part of this is part and parcel of what the government is doing in their policies. And so basically what happens is we go out to the communities with the tablet, and basically the tablet is configured to link back to core banking system based on KYC, which is Know Your Customer protocols. This is only eligible for indigenous NIBANs based on compliance regulations. So what happens is we go out to the communities, we give literacy, they understand, they're interested in opening account, we do it on the spot. Account is opened, account is credited, we get the physical cash, and that's handled by a GL transaction later. But you can issue the customer there and then their account number and a letter certifying that they actually own a bank account. And we basically, the tablet, then we basically collect your KYC information there and then. And so it would be good, like we heard about the civil registry doing up an ID system where, so that would be interested to work with, because that basically incorporates that KYC part of the account opening. And so it would be seamless, it would be cost effective, and it would avoid people traveling for a huge cost just to open a bank account.
Okay, thank you. That's very insightful. So my final question to Gary, CEO of Digicel. After that, we'll open the floor for question and answer. Now, whenever we talk about digital financial services or network, we always hear that there are network challenges, network issues. It's very difficult connectivity in a country like Vanuatu. However, if we look at the TRBR's annual report of 2025, in that report it says that more than 94% people are under some type of coverage. So looking at the current status of mobile network and the coverage, I'm requesting you to consider the broader perspective, not only Digicel, but also considering the whole sector. How do you think these networks and solutions are ready for a wider adaptation for Vanuatu? If TRBR, the regulator, is saying 94%, but in other cases we are seeing that there are connectivity issues. But can we say that the network is sufficient to cover at least maybe 70 or 80% of the population with this type of financial services that we are hearing from Vodafone, from NBV, and also you have MyCash. So over to you.
Yeah, I think it's a good question. So at the moment, as it currently stands with TRBR, the network coverage is at approximately 95%. We signed an undertaking along with Vodafone for the 5th UAP, which I think it's about 4 years. We have to complete that, and that will take us to just under 100% in terms of coverage of the country. So there's been a number of areas identified still outside of that 95% where we can improve coverage from a mobile perspective. I think besides mobile, obviously we've had the introduction of Starlink. There's other satellite network providers in the country as well. So I think to answer your question, there's definitely already, or I think from my perspective, I think there's definitely already well and truly over 70, 80% network coverage across the country to provide those types of services. I think the challenge is, as we all know, the country is so disparate. We have challenges on some remote areas where they're the areas which don't have these services, these everyday services that we would expect to have. So the challenge for us as operators in an industry is how do we provide services and coverage and accessibility to some of those areas which don't have that access. So whether that's providing agency, which some of the speakers have already mentioned and we're looking at as well. So they may be able to move around different areas and they may have mobile top devices, whether that's a mobile Starlink or a satellite service or something that we provide as well, where some communities may not have direct access, but they still have access to an agency type model where they can have accessibility to those services. So it's still a moving feast. We're looking to obviously continue to expand our network. I'm sure Vodafone is as well, to make sure that we provide that level of service that we've committed to with the regulator. And we'll always look in terms of how we can provide services to communities that require it. So I think it's a collaborative effort. It's not just one provider, one operator. We had some discussions yesterday in one of the panels with the government talking about tower sharing and co-location as well. So there's different things that we're all looking at as an industry where we can improve that coverage. So I think it's definitely something that we're all aware of and we're continually working on. But I think the majority of the population we have coverage as access. It's about how we fill those little pockets which don't have the coverage that we would expect to have.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was very insightful. Thank you to all our panelists. Now, with that, I would open the floor for any questions, comments, observation. Please, can we have a microphone here?
Thank you so much for a great conversation. My name is Kelly, and I'm from the AI Asia Pacific Institute. Yesterday, we had a good discussion here about the role of AI in the Pacific and how it can support with various challenges. And I think going back to something that I think all of you touched on, which was around financial literacy. I wonder what the role of, if this has been explored at all, or any conversations have started on how AI could support inclusion, financial inclusion, but also literacy. So this is something that we are seeing, for example, with projects in Southeast Asia, in some remote areas, where you might now have a large language model or agentic AI, which can speak with someone in plain language, in their own language, and support them to understand key aspects of finance, for example. So when you're helping, like you're mentioning that example of helping someone to set up a bank account, you could have AI to continue to support that person, for example, to understand lending, borrowing, and so on those concepts, I guess. So just wondering whether this is something you have seen yet.
Any of the panelists would like to respond to that?
Okay, thank you. I think I'll answer to that. I think, honest to say, I think we're just busy configuring stuff. We just didn't explore that avenue, but thank you for raising that. We will definitely lock it in.
Anyone else?
Yes, I think we're looking at options using that from an education perspective. We find though that when we're trying to get that awareness and that level of trust and confidence, it's still a face-to-face type conversation. So it's about how do we integrate the face-to-face with also the A2I part. So the AI part where we're looking at is more on how do we get the materials and the learnings out to the individual communities once we've had those face-to-face discussions and to support each other. So yeah, we're looking at it more from a training and awareness, how we can roll it out, because we've only got so many resources on the ground, how we can roll it out with some of our partners to create a better level of awareness and be able to streamline our materials.
Thank you. Please, if you can introduce yourself and ask the question.
Thank you. I'm Andrew from TRBR. I want to thank the panel. I think it's a great panel, especially to do with financial inclusion. Mike, I have two questions. One, very simple questions. One is, as we are running the .vu CCTLD, I'm wondering if the banks or the operators can say that if I have something .vu in my business, can I transact that online directly to my bank account? That's one question. The other question is, I think Vodafone has mentioned about the transport option, like in Fiji, we have the cashless transport system. I wonder whether there has been some discussion locally here, and if so, is there some barriers like the regulatory environment that needs to be there? We have the Honorable MP here. Maybe he can also contribute to this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's two questions. So maybe the first part goes to the banks. If any of the representative would like to respond.
Thank you, Andrew. I think for NBV, we're looking at online onboarding of customers. It's one of the project. Loan origination is another product online product. I think it's want to point out also there's a NBS service available. When we talk about access to cash in remote areas, there's also another product available hosted at Reserve Bank, where you can transact from bread to NBV, and customer can collect cash from any branch at a remote location. Yeah, I think that's the options we have at the moment.
Okay, thank you. The next question, maybe Gary, you'd like to respond?
Yes, I think there has been some discussion around that. I think there was a working group that many of us are already a part of, and I think all identified we're trying to do something ourselves. So there was a motion passed at that last work group that we would potentially look at putting some type of platform or build some type of platform integration for a unified public transport system, similar to what they're using in Fiji. Because at the moment, Digicel's trying to do something, and the banks and Vodafone, etc. And the the Land Transport Authority is going to have all these different types of integrations. You can imagine the buses having 6 different mobiles on the desktop. It's not very practical. So we talked about potentially putting that up as an option to investigate. So it's on the table for discussion.
Thank you. We have some more questions, but let me just take a few moments to give a little bit more context on this. For this type of payments to work through digital wallets, we would require both-way connectivity from the wallet to the bank and bank to the wallet. Right now, we have bank to wallet, not wallet to the bank. It is in the roadmap of RBV. In the National Payment Systems second stage, the RBV has a plan to connect with the wallets, because otherwise, for the merchants, it becomes very difficult to transfer the money at will to their own bank accounts. So the money is sitting in their merchant account. So that's a big inconvenience for them. So with that, can I have the microphones here for two more questions? So yeah.
Thank you, moderator. I'll just give a few comments. Firstly, I think on behalf of the government and people of Vanuatu, I would like to thank the private sector, especially the banks and our telecom operators, for continue to having confidence in our economy and investing and coming up, identifying, researching new technology and making sure that these services are available to our citizens, not only in the urban centers, but also in rural areas. Secondly, I'd like to emphasize the importance of the key statement made by the opening speaker, keynote speaker, Commissioner of VFSC, about collaboration. Financial inclusion cannot be achieved without effective collaboration from all the key stakeholders. Not one single entity or two can achieve financial inclusion. We need a collaboration, strong collaboration with everyone, banks, telecom operators, education sector, politicians, ministers, and the list goes on. Thirdly, I'd like to just add on a few comments around accessibility, especially to assist with our telecom operators, and also I'll make some statement on financial inclusion, financial literacy, and there's another one I just forgot. But firstly, on the network connectivity, and I'm speaking on behalf of the government that I'm part in, which was elected in January last year. So firstly, on the connectivity, about outside the FATE, where we have submarine cable connectivity, in 2 years' time, by December 2027, we'll have international submarine cable connectivity to other 3 major islands, which I believe are major 3 markets for mobile payment platforms. And that's Tanna, Malakula, and Sando. They will be connected directly to a submarine fiber optic cable network. So obviously, as Digital and Vodafone can elaborate more, that this will eliminate a lot of issues with so much radio transmission towers. From here to Sando, you talk about probably 10 to 15 sites before it's Sando. So when there's a problem, land dispute, or even weather or natural disasters, it does affect the quality of service. So hopefully, this government has made the decision through the Council of Ministers, and agreements and financial agreements have been signed to embark on the Tam-Tam submarine cable. So by December 2027, we'll have the reliable connectivity similar to EFATE on Tanna, Malakula, and Sando. So this should address some of our major markets for the mobile platform. Secondly, obviously, as you notice, since the liquidation of Vanuatu before and soon after, we've had a lot of issues with aviation. And this has affected the logistics and how the telecom operators manage the network. It's so difficult to get across to the islands because of poor aviation connectivity or maritime connectivity. So I'm pleased to say that this government has embarked on reforming Vanuatu. We've purchased airlines, and we're actually aggressively improving domestic connectivity to all the islands. So the technicians now can have easier access to travel to remote places and ensure that there's reliable quality telecommunication to provide mobile payment platform services. We've also announced 5 airports to be upgraded to all-weather proof, and ADR can service those 5 airports outside Whitecrest, Powerfield Airport, and Pekwa. So hopefully this should not improve connectivity for our telecom officials, but also boost tourism as well. Also, this government has embarked on pack houses to provide access to market more closer to our farmers in rural areas. So this should improve cash flow, especially an opportunity for entrepreneurs and our farmers in the rural areas. This government also is very serious about reducing significantly the amount of energy cost. There's been significant approval through Council of Ministers on embarking on feasibility studies for geothermal project in Nevada and also in Tanna, and the studies are very feasible and very interesting. So that will be the next wave transformation project for Vanuatu in terms of reducing the cost of energy. On the financial literacy, I'd say this government, with the support of World Bank, have actually started to invest on doing an analytical feasibility study on embarking on a significant educational reform. For too long, we've had a lot of complaints, a lot of issues about our education systems in Vanuatu. So hopefully, I'm encouraging the Financial Inclusion Task Force, which I don't see any member here. I would expect to see a policymaker or regulator in front with you guys, but they're not here. But I would expect that part of the reform of the education, they should also include financial and ICT literacy as a mandatory or obligation. It should be mandatory for all the secondary school to have. One of the syllabus should be financial literacy, including the ICT literacy as well. So I'm encouraging all stakeholders to be part of this education reform to ensure that the new education system for tomorrow also addresses some of these areas. I think that's short remarks I would like to make. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable MP Fred Samuel, for your remarks. We do acknowledge and we take note of it. Next.
Thank you.
Apologies. I forgot one important point that I'd like to make. It's regarding the finance management information system. Probably this is the most important one I forgot. My apologies, Dalsi. The government is the biggest buyer of service, but also consumer of service, but also it contributes a lot, should be contributing a lot to this mobile payment platform. A lot of citizens would like to buy government service or to pay for government service, but normally that go to, for example, customs. You'd probably walk into an office and pay for land leases or school fees or even medical costs. So one of our obstacles into achieving online payment is obviously the current finance system, the smart stream. So I'm pleased to announce that this government, when we came to office last year, we've embarked and agreed and put budget aside to upgrade our FMIS management system, the smart stream. So it will be upgraded to a modern financial system. So hopefully it will have the capability of integrating with various mobile platforms. So citizens across Vanuatu can use all your mobile payment platform to be able to pay for government services. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. So I'm Dulcie. I'm asking this question as a user of your service. So one of the international consumer rights is clearly mentioned here, that the right to redress. Okay, so in recent years, we have been calling your customer service. Thank you for the investment and thank you for responding, either through cell phone call or emails. But I think it's important to elevate this to a much more, real-time response to redress, to complaints or to services that we are not satisfied with. So I'm asking if you also have that in your existing platform. That's one. And second, what is the major holdback to the rural development of what you're planning to do? Talking now, we are in the governance, internet governance. So what is it? Is it to do with the cost, logistics? Because to be honest with you, around Vanuatu, everyone is interested in your service. So what is the major holdback? Thank you.
Regarding the customer service, I would request maybe Vodafone to respond. If there is email platform for customer complaints and redressal mechanism.
Okay, thank you. Specifically for mobile money, we have a standard line for our agents across the island. We have over 200 agents, external agents that assist us in, facilitating withdrawals and deposits for our customers. We have a specific line for any agent issue. I think it's 121 that they can call if they have an issue. And our customer service is online 24/7. You can make a call if you have a query from wherever you are. It's a toll-free line. And also we have an email, customercare@vodafone.com.au. So we have these mediums of any issues you have, you can contact us, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Regarding the internet governance question, so do you have anyone specific in your mind whom you want to ask? So any of the panel members would like to take the question? Okay, can you please repeat the question with a bit of reframing?
So for example, in South Malekula, they would want to see some more registration or even getting access to bank services, not just NBV, but maybe other banks, so that they have an option, okay, the consumer choice. They have that within their communities. That's on the digital financial inclusion. That's right. An example.
Maybe being mindful of the time of our audience and also the panel members, maybe let me quickly respond to that. And this is a discussion we have been having in the Digital Financial Services Task Force that is implementing the National Financial Inclusion Strategy and the consumer's choice. That's of course that is there, but at the same time, the business case needs to be taken into consideration, that there has to be a strong business case for the private sector to go there, do the investment, and start offering the services. So that's why the collaborative effort to figure out how we if next year you'll see some of the things have changed. So with that, I would like to thank all of our panel members, all of our audience. Can we have a big round of applause to our panel members? Thank you so much. I really don't want to be the person between you and the lunch. So I'll summarize very quickly. We have heard very interesting insights on the remote communities, the growth of the digital wallets, and how remittance is coming more towards wallets. But we need to build an ecosystem on how the money that is coming to the wallet could be used for different services. We have quite a few services like UNELCO payments, some of the school fee payments, VNPF payments, but we need to bring in more services. And what we heard from the Honorable MP, that starting from FMIS to the connectivity, there's some really strong progress we are seeing. So maybe sometime next year or year after, when we would sit together again to discuss the progress, we'll see some of the things have changed significantly. And I would like to thank Department of Communication and Digital Transformation for organizing this. And with that, the Commonwealth Telecom Organization, the Secretary General is here. I do acknowledge your presence and the effort you have taken to come to Vanuatu. That's pretty much literally on the other side of the world. And encourage the digital transformation. So thank you so much. And with that, we would like to close today's session. Thank you.
Thank you. Please go ahead and take your seats, panelists. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Nile, for facilitating this session. It was such a brilliant session, and I think there's lots of people who are itchy to continue these conversations, which we will continue over lunch, because it was so interesting. I realized that there were more people who wanted to ask questions, but unfortunately we have to stop for lunch, and we can continue these conversations over lunch, and even later on we have more interesting sessions coming up after lunch. Just to continue to acknowledge our sponsors, because the list keeps getting longer, and that's quite interesting that we're having sponsors while we're in the room. We want to acknowledge our major sponsor, Prima, our co-sponsor, National Bank of Vanuatu, our partners, Computer World, Vodafone, Bank of the South Pacific, PACNet, Vanuatu Financial Service Commission, Vanuatu Institute of Technology. Please, a round of applause for our sponsors. And also to acknowledge that we have some students from the Vanuatu Institute of Technology in the room. Very interesting to have the future technologists and strategists over this way. Thank you for coming, because they are the future, and so it's interesting and important to have them listening to these conversations that are going to inform most of the decisions that as young leaders they will make tomorrow. Let's break for lunch, and let's be back here at 1:40 to continue with the next session for the day. Thank you, and let's keep the conversation going over lunch.